Expansion.
In Egypt, my dad got us a new computer. I was young at the time,
What
and
computer
I,
was it?
huh?
Do you remember what computer it was?
It was a
Sometimes we
Dell
laugh at them.
computer. It was the old one. You had the CPU, and on top the
Ah, okay,
monitor
yeah, yeah,
sits.
okay, yeah, sure,
See?
yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. We remember those.
So basically, for me, my take on, I guess, computers was just play with it.
Yeah,
And I think it's
no
this is
manual, just get
yeah,
in there.
just play with it. Obviously, no harm done if
Mm,
you're in the computer. I guess
sure.
in the software,
Yeah,
they design it so that you can't really stuff up.
yeah.
Yeah. Me, I basically looking at the back of the computer, all the ports, da da da. So the first stupid mistake. So I switch up the voltage. In Egypt, it was 220. Switch it to 110,
Mm,
and then I flick it
you're
on.
fucking fried.
But
Yeah, of course.
this is one of the funny things. But again, this I can
Uh-huh.
only you know
So
say
young
that
Andy.
this is with fiddling
Habibi,
around.
what you do, Habibi? You break the computer.
Hey, it wasn't
Hamshi,
too
Habibi.
expensive at the time.
Habibi.
But definitely fiddling with
Turubu.
computers.
Yeah.
Look, I've learned so much just by poking around, especially with
Yeah.
computers. I think people are afraid to click something that would do some
Look,
unexpected
I'm
destruction.
gonna get in there and have a go, but 99 out of
The
100
patience,
times.
or I guess the persistence to.
Yeah. But I think. Look, I consider myself capable enough to have a go, and sometimes
Oh,
I
you
work it
definitely
out.
are. Yeah,
Sometimes I work it out,
it's just the.
but I'm very much a fan of plug in and play. Like just be everything. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, getting into cybersecurity, you're on another level of. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's go back to the story of me
Yeah.
15 sort of years ago. Of you would hear back then stories about all those breaches, or again back then it was a hacker
Uh huh.
breaks into this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big stories back then. Like obviously when I started having access to the internet and stuff, there was so much more about the hierarchy of guess of people, or different types of people. There was definitely groups of people, for example, in the I guess release scene. So most people are not aware of this, but most before music, games, DVDs, how it used to work was there was different groups. They would mainly sort of do this as competition. So you'd have different groups releasing movies. If they have access to a DVD store, they would actually get the movies, rip them, put them, file them, package them, put everything. And this is actually how people got anything on the internet. So most people think torrents is basically how you get it. But before torrents, you had different groups, and they all had pride in what they're doing. It was
Sure.
definitely for competition. So
Sure. There's still a bit of that going on, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
look, there's
Yeah.
different. There's still
Yeah.
different groups, sort of
Competing.
releasing stuff. Again, some groups might have access to applications. So, what really sort of got me thinking was a lot of those groups, they would get applications, they would crack the protection of them, and then they would basically package it up with the crack and share it between different groups. Obviously, for me as an end users, playing around, you eventually get to the source of actually obtaining different, trying different applications.
Sure.
Like I said, like
Correct.
I believe in trying an application fully, and look, if you use it, it's like everything that I use, just buy it. But it was just nice. It was obviously adventurous. I was still young, so it was just like, wow, that it can actually crack the protection of a big application. And again, these people, like some of them probably not necessarily the smartest, but the fact that you actually have people that are able to crack protection done by a big corporation.
That's right.
A big corporation
Spent
that
big
has
money.
engineers.
Yeah.
So this was the thing. It's like, well, obviously there's some really skilled people. There's some really smart people.
What's going on
Someone
here?
hacks into the Pentagon or NASA or this or this. And like, wow, how does he? And again, this is by no means easy. It could be, how they got in. I guess a lack of proper protective measures, as in not the correct settings. So it could be, the way they sort of got in was not because of how smart they are, but because of actually
They
a lack
fucked
of
up.
proper implementation
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
security.
They fucked
But
up
on the
on
other
that.
side, you have extremely intelligent people that will penetrate,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, go through a firewall, this,
Mm.
that, and then this was always fascinating to me.
I've heard crazy stories about hackers. I've met some people overseas, and they've shown me and told me some crazy shit, which gave me an insight into how real and how big and how developed that world is. So much so that a friend of mine who won't call himself a hacker, but has been perhaps benefiting
Poking around, I
from
guess.
poking
Yeah.
around. Yeah, he's like a something. He's you know. So he showed me the deep web,
Yeah,
deep
yeah,
web, yeah,
absolutely. The dark web.
dark web. Sorry. And he gave me a little tour and he explained a few things to me, but he showed me that essentially there are people in this world almost like living a life or the life entirely for free.